Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good people.
Good morning, everyone.
That wasn't good?
No.
Okay. Anyway, I'm Pastor Nick, and she is.
Pastor Franny.
Anyway, I want to say sorry about Monday. I know that there was some issues with the message. I was actually on a plane taking Santino to college.
Yes.
So I pre-recorded that so we would have something, but it obviously didn't come out right. Jeremiah's got to help me learn a little bit more on the recording. But anyway, with that said, I will cover that one on this Monday coming up. I'll do the show again. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining this morning. Today, we are going to talk about, remember, I told you that we're going to be on this digital kind of parenting thing, if you will. Today, we're talking about digital parenting, to protect, guide, and empower your child. To protect, guide, and empower your child. And, I think one of the real keys here today is we want to talk about tips for them, safeguarding their children, as it says. But one of the scriptures Pastor Franny came up with was Proverbs 29:15 in the King James, and it says what?
The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
The rod and reproof gives wisdom. Reproof is taking time out to talk to your child, to go over things with your child, those things. We all know what the rod is, right? Rod's pretty easy. But the reproof is taking time. So we see here that, biblical development of our children isn't just spanking them.
No.
And I know the world's kind of went the whole other way when it comes to us disciplining our kids, and they say we shouldn't spank them at all. It's actually a combination of different kinds of discipline that it takes to properly raise your kid. So when it comes to the digital age and dealing with these devices, and that's all of them. It's not just smartphones, but I know a lot of y'all have the little, what are those little things they give the kids? The iPads to keep them busy, keep them entertained, to babysit them for you when you don't want to do it. Those aren't as dangerous per se as the internet. When you give them a phone, a smart device, now you're talking about the internet, and that's a whole nother level of what you need to be concerned with, but they are as well. So both of them, even when your child is very young and they're crying and they're kicking and they want that pad, you got to sit down and have a conversation with them about that as well, right?
Well, a conversation with a little kid.
Yeah.
I mean, a little kid. They got them at 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I think it's just this is the time we're going to do it, and this is the time we're not going to do it. You can't explain it to a 2 and 3-year-old.
Okay. Pastor Nick's not an expert here, so like Pastor Frank said, there's a certain age where it's just yes and no, and you got to deal with the consequences. Right. Okay. So one thing I want to go over before we get into this today is we want to go over a couple of stats. We want to focus. The iPads are one thing, and I think we will talk about that a little bit. But for the purposes of this show, we want to focus a little bit more on the online. Right. So this is your kids, and we're going to talk about the iPads on this show for a minute. But this part right now is about your kids. Relative to them being online. So this is your kids when you're letting them have your phone. Right. This is your kids when you give them a device that has internet access on it, whether it be a computer or a phone. But in particularly when your child has the ability to be alone with a phone, you have to think about it. It's like letting them walk into, if you don't do the things I'm going to tell you today, it's like just dropping them off in New York City and letting them go anywhere they want to go, right? So I just want to read you some stats, right? So Pew Report did some research. They found that 59%, that's 60%, let's call it that, of U.S. teens experience some form of cyberbullying. They experience some form of contact from other people, right? Some form of people trying to engage them in conversations that we're sure their parents won't want them to have, right?
Right.
And additionally, from this report, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children highlighted a 97.5% increase in this from these incidents just from 2019 to 2020.
I wonder what it is now.
Yeah, in 1 year. In 1 year. So one thing that we told you we're going to do today is we were going to give you access and give you a website where you can literally, and I found one, James Darden, a member of our church, uses this app for his son, Isaiah, who, how old is Isaiah? 13?
No, you mean
I'm sorry. Lyric. Yeah, Lyric.
Yeah, Lyric is 13.
13. He uses it for his son, Lyric. It's a 100% free app, and it's from Google. But this particular report emphasized the importance of us setting up, monitoring, and using social media controls, right? And another thing, Pastor Frank and I talked about this right before the show started. We also got to have the hard conversations with our kids about the dangers of talking to strangers online, engaging in these conversations online that they shouldn't be having. There's actually a really, really good show. When my wife was, when my kids were young, my wife had my kids watch the Adam Walsh Story because, you know, kids will walk up and just talk to any stranger.
I had one, but
yeah, and she would have them watch them. Today, there's a show on TV called to Talk to a Stranger or something, where they show that
how susceptible your child is to talk to a
stranger. No, there's actually a show.
Oh, okay.
That where they set up the predators.
Right.
So you can go watch those, right? But what I want to give you, let me see how many we got on. Everybody loaded up here? Good. Okay. What I want to give y'all now is this link. And I just want to cover this with you real quick. Write this down. It's called Google Family Link. You just Google that. Google Family Link. Write that down. Somebody put it in the chat. Google Family Link. All right. Google Family Link is it's a parental control app. It is designed to help parents manage their child's online activity and device usage. That's the key. It offers you a range of features. I want to go over a few of the features it offers you today. Number one, what does it offer, Pastor Franny?
App management.
App management. What does that mean? Parents can view from your phone, you can view all the apps that your children are using. You can approve the apps. You can block the apps. You can see where they went and what they downloaded. You can monitor how much time they spend on each app every day. So it has application time management. Then the key, it has screen time management. It allows you to literally set a daily allowance on their device, ensuring that your kid does not spend too much time in front of the screen. Additionally, it actually allows you to set what's called a bedtime feature. So the device automatically locks from certain times.
That's great.
Right?
Some kids aren't under the covers.
Yeah, because one of the things y'all are going to need to understand is that when it comes to implementing these strategies, the key to them is are you following through? Because if you're not following through on your strategies,
it's not like
it's just talk. Right. So you got to follow through. Okay. Another what's the word I'm looking for? Another application another feature it gives you device location. So now if you want to know if your kids are where they say they are, right? It allows you to track them down and know that they're at Johnny's house. What I think is one of the most important things it gives you beforehand content filtering. So you can go in there now. You're going to have to read. You're going to have to take the time to set this thing up, right? It allows remote locking. If your kids are doing something they shouldn't be doing, you literally can lock them out from your phone. And then it gives you, lastly, it gives you account reports. So if you literally want to sit down with your child and you want to have a report and you want to go over, let's say, at the end of a month, you want to go over their usage. And what I recommend that you do before you even implement this stuff, you put it on their phone and don't tell them all the features. You let them go a whole month without knowing that you're monitoring all this. And then you sit them down and you show them, not being condescending, not being mad, but go, hey, did you know that you were on the phone for, 100 hours this month? Did you know that you went to this site and that site?
It also will show them
brings awareness.
Yes, will show them the children level of maturity.
Yeah. So one thing Pastor Franny and I teach, there's a time that you have a discussion with a child, and then there's a time you tell the child. Before under 12 years old, you're just telling them. From 13 to 18, it's about having some level of discussion. It's not about just telling them.
Right. And I think that's where it's all getting skewed, is that when they're smaller, we're treating them like adults.
We're not telling them.
No.
We're missing the telling
phase. I've even heard a woman say, it's me and you. No, that's your husband. You and your husband supposed to be in it together, me and you, not you and your child.
Right.
And it puts way too much pressure on a child. Cannot emotionally grasp what you're saying there.
Right.
But anyway, it's we are not telling our children small. When they're small, you'll find we did it earlier. Tell them as they grow, you can have these conversations, and then they won't feel judgmental. They'll know, oh, mommy's just doing this for my protection.
Right. Now, one thing I do want to say about the telling thing, and I think there's got to be a balance, because this is a race thing. Okay. I hate to get into races, but when you look at African Americans, Latino Americans, like what I came up in, Italian Americans, we raise our children and we handle our kids a little differently than, let's say, white Americans, right? Now, what I want to tell you is, on the extremes, both of them are wrong. White moms are too easy on their kids. But in the same turn, the Latino mom or the Italian mom or the black mom can be too rough with their kids. So anytime you're at an extreme, it's not good. You need to learn it can't always be jerking them and pulling them and talking down to them and bullying them. That's what you're doing. You're literally bullying. I hate to use that word. Y'all know I don't like it. But you're bullying a child. You're provoking them. You're taking out your anger on them. You had a bad day. So you got to be careful with that and what we're talking about with the kids. But you got to let the kid know. You got to look at them and say, listen, John, you are not going to do this, and I am not going to tell you again. And if I have to tell you again, these are going to be the consequences, and you got to stick to those consequences.
Yes,
right.
And I think this is going on to a lot of parents. I call it muddy the water. They give a boundary, then they move it. A kid to bug them enough, and they give it to them. You just, oh Lord, you just set yourself up for a mess. And I notice in children's ministry, a lot of the servants or the people that serve in children's ministry are now recognizing the boundaries that I've set up in children's ministry, how well they work. And the children's still going to love you. They're still going to have fun. Children want to be disciplined. It makes them feel loved.
Right. Okay. So let's go on to number 2. So number 2, we kind of hit on a little bit in the app thing, but balancing screen time and promoting healthy habits, right? The American Academy of Pediatrics, go look it up, AAP, recommends that a child age 6 years old and older have no more than 1 to 2 hours of screen time per day. Boy, that just knocked a lot of y'all out of the pocket, didn't it? 1 to 2 hours a day. I promise you, when you load on this family link from Google, you're going to see your kids are spending a lot more than that. Because the same study found that the average child in the U.S. spends more than 7 hours per day on screens, including entertainment, schoolwork, and social interactions. 7 hours a day. 7 hours a day. So we got to think about strategies that we can employ in your houses that will set screen time limits. I love the idea. I said to y'all last week that your kids should earn their phone. They should pay for their phone. I know sometimes kids can't work. I get that. Create home dollars. Create dollars that they earn. Taking out the garbage earns $1. Washing the dishes earns $3. Folding the clothes earns this. Create dollars. You pay them $5 an hour to do this or do that. Pay them to do their homework. If they sit down and do their homework for an hour, they earn money. And then let them use their money that they earn to buy back the things that they want to do. You teach your child at a young age, reward has a price.
Yes.
If they want to feed their flesh, if they want to appease their flesh, that's okay. We all have a flesh. There's not a parent on here that don't go eat a piece of cheesecake that they shouldn't eat.
Amen.
Right? Annie, you pinged me yesterday. They were eating them cookies at work in front of you, right? Right? But what did I say? There's nothing wrong with eating them. We just got to eat a certain amount. How do we do that? We learn that whatever it is that we want, we got to make healthy choices and we got to pick those things. And then you let somebody pick what they really want. Man, this is developing really, really good skills with your kids.
Yeah, but also remember implementing this. It may be a little tough because these kids haven't had the boundary.
So how do you do it a little bit at a time?
Kick and scream.
Right.
Right. Maybe not do the whole app. Pick the two that's most important to you and bring more stability to your home. And that's easy for you to administer because we're busy people.
Yeah. And listen, these are tough things. We're not saying they're not. Don't try to bite off the world at one time. Implement these strategies a little bit at a time. But I encourage everybody on here to go to Google Family Link, download the application on your Android device, on your Mac device, on your laptop. Take some time to get to know the app, read the app, understand the app. If you have any questions with the app, let us know. Maybe we can connect you and get you some help.
Very important.
Next week, we want to talk about peer pressure and identity. Peer pressure and identity, right? Guiding kids to stand firm in their faith. Guiding our kids to stand firm in their faith. Next week, we want to talk about peer pressure and identity. We love you guys. Thank you for joining. I noticed our crowd didn't grow any. Please invite some people. They need to hear these things. These are about our children. It's not about inviting somebody to our church or, it's about really getting this information out for our kids. Listen, we love you guys. Until next time, Pastor Nick, Pastor Franny saying, enjoy life.